Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we'll be talking about a new game that I recently played called Crystal of Atlan, and we're going to be talking about what I thought about it and everything that I liked about it and maybe some things I disliked about it. Yeah, it's a little bit like Genshin. To me personally, it was a little bit like Nier. If you guys do not know what Nier is, this is what it looks like because I realized a lot of people do not know what Nier is, so I'm so sorry about that. But yeah, and it does have different classes to pick from. You do not need to pick from one. I picked the fighter class. But yeah, and honestly, the game was nice. I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't think so. It had smooth combat, clean visuals, and my PC is like a 2020 PC. Nothing's been changed, so thank God it worked. And yeah, and we're gonna go ahead and talk about all that. I went ahead and chose the fighter class just because I like to do hand-to-hand combat and where you can dodge or you can closing the gap or chaining up up close combos. That's how I liked it. I like to spam low-key. I don't like to have to wait for like my thing to do like a specifically like big attack. Does that make sense? Hopefully that does. But yeah, I also chose because I thought it was gonna be the easiest for me to learn. I low-key did not want to have to sit here and try to figure things out if it's not going to be a good game. So I chose the easiest one because I'm here for the story. I'm a story-based player. So if I don't like the way that the story's going, I'm probably not going to like it. You know what I mean? So I chose the easiest. But there is other classes. If you don't like fighter is not the only class there is. There's like 5 of them. So you got a lot to choose from if that's your thing. Okay, but let's talk about the PC performance. My PC is a very old PC in my opinion, and probably in a lot of people's opinions, because I always hear that my like GPU, my CPU were like kind of old, but hey, it worked in this game. I didn't have no lagging, no frame drops like I did in Infinity Nikki or in Genshin. If you guys have not played those two games, they're great games, but I did lag a lot to the point that I had to change my frames to low. So this one I didn't have any problems with that. Obviously I will tell you guys my GPU. I do use the RTX 2060 Super, and then in my CPU I use the i9 1090X CPU or 10900X CPU. So do I really know if those are good or not? No, but some people in my stream say they're not the greatest, so I'm gonna just go with that. People probably have better than that. I did stream it. I was live streaming it. So technically, if you guys don't know how that really goes in OBS, it's like playing the game twice. Sadly, it runs your frames, and to my surprise, we had no lag. We didn't have lag in the cutscenes. We didn't have lag loading in. I didn't have frames drop anywhere that I know of, at least that I noticed. So thank God. That is a good sign for me, because when I start lagging, I start getting like, why am I lagging? Or it's not lag, but you guys know what I mean, like a nice frame drop. So yeah, that worked for me. So I'm sure that it'll be okay in some of y'all's PCs. Hopefully, it is a mobile game, so you guys can also play it on your phone. I did not play it on my phone. My phone tries to blow up when I play Genshin, so I'm just not gonna do that. You know what I mean? But the next thing we'll talk about is the world exploration. I liked it. We only went to 2 cities, obviously. The first one, the main one that you start in your tutorial, which we were there for a little bit. I think we were there for an hour. And then the main city that we went to, which is a lot bigger than I thought it was gonna be. And low-key, it looked nice. That's all I'm gonna say. I was digging it. I was like, okay, this is nice. But there's also hidden areas, puzzle-like platforming, which, if you played Genshin, some of those puzzles be having you banging your head on your desk. You know what I mean? It's not just like flat ground. There's actually like some place, you see some scenery, you see some nice things, you see some hills, you see some like places that encourage you to go explore it, which I loved. So thank God. I just like the second world because it was giving like very futuristic, kind of very like old, like I'll post a video here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about, because like I liked it. I liked the way it looked. Let's go ahead and get into the classes, okay? Okay, let's talk about these classes, and I do have it written on my iPad because I do not remember all these classes like this. I picked fighter. You guys already know I picked fighter, and that's I had to write down the others, okay? But we'll start with fighter, which is a like, you know, an easy one to spam. But every single one of your classes has a subclass, and your subclasses are unlocked, I believe, at level 15. So don't worry, like you'll be there fast. Trust me, you level up so fast in this game. It's like Genshin. When you first start, you're hitting those levels, you know, and then you start going down when you start getting to like the 30s. You know what I mean? But the subclasses of this is a Cloud Strider, which is a fast agile DPS, and then you have your Starbreaker, which is a heavy hitting finisher. So pretty easy, pretty smooth, you know. The second class is the Swordsman, which was gonna be my first pick, but I wanted to be a girl, so I had to go fighter. But yeah, there is the one that's the Swordsman, which I feel like is very like what if you're not comfortable or if it's your first game like ever playing something and you're like, oh, I don't really know how to do anything. This is a nice one to start with because it's pretty easy. The fighter was easy to learn, but you know, if you play a lot of like your sword based games, you're gonna go with Swordsman, which is a balanced warrior with solid defense and offense. That's why I say like I feel like it's good for every single thing because you have a solid defense and offense. The subclasses is the Major Blade, which is a hybrid magic melee. And then you have the Berserker, which is a high survival tank DPS. So if you like being a tank, shield, or anything like this might be the class for you. The third class is the Musketeer. I didn't pick the Musketeer because your girl got bad aim. But you know, if you got that aim, go for it. You know, that's all for you. But I don't have the aim in any game. So I did not go Musketeer, but it's a long-range damage dealer with precise shootings. And the subclasses are Gunner and Bounty Hunter, which low-key sounds, you know. Dual pistols is for the Bounty Hunter, which sounds very nice. I low-key am reading this and I'm like, maybe we should have been a Bounty Hunter, but whatever. The fourth class is the Magister, which is a mage class with tons of spells and crowd control. So if you like your magic, they have that here, you guys. There's a class that you can play for literally, I believe, everything. I'm sure the Magister probably has a healer in there too. So the subclasses is Elementarist, a Magician, and Warlock. Each one of them has their own damage and tricks, so I think that's cool. I also think it's pretty cool that it has more subclasses and everything. So I'm getting the vibe that maybe a lot of people pick this one, which I feel like is probably a good one to pick. It's probably a good one to pick. The fifth class and the last class is the Puppeteer, at least the last class as of now, you know. So they might add more, I never know. It does have mid-range control of using magical puppets, which sounds kind of cool. The subclasses is a Blade Maiden, which is a ranged DPS, and the Sith Guard, which I did like the character of this. I remember we were looking at the characters and I did like the way that this one did look, okay? It's a support and tank hybrid. So if you like playing support, this might be the one for you because, girl, I like playing support too. So this might be the one. Okay, let's talk about the class progression system. So you're obviously starting at level 1. This is where you're going to pick your character and you're going to see if you like them, but it's not permanent, okay? Like, that's the keyword. This is not permanent. Well, at level 1, you got to pick one, you got to stick with one. That is not how it works. Obviously, at level 15, you're going to advance to your subclasses, so you're going to see more things, more combos you can do, more attacks you can do, and all that good stuff. You can still change the character that you picked at that level, okay? It is not like I'm stuck here at level 15 playing one character I hate. No, this is when you kind of get a more taste of what character you are and how you like them. Now, at level 45, it does become permanent. I believe you have to pay to switch. So I'm not paying to switch. Take that money and no thank you. So unless you want to switch at 45, which that's kind of long, that's kind of far in there, switch before, you know what I mean? Like, switch before. So you can get a more flavor, more taste of what each like person is. You can change the character's hair, outfit. It's like a gacha game. It's like Infinity Nikki and Genshin like had a baby and there you go, you know? You can change the outfit, you can change the hair color, you can change the eyes, you can it kind of get crazy. Obviously, you gotta unlock those. I'm pretty sure you gotta pull for those, and your girl has terrible luck in her pulls, so she didn't have that. But I think I have a video of literally going up to someone and they had like a maid outfit on. I was like, girl, I want that. You know what I mean? Like, so yeah, you can change everything in there. Obviously, if you want to change your class, change it before 45, before level 45. Okay, that's the key word. That's the cutoff right there. Okay, just saying. Okay, but if you have the money to pay for that, go for it. It's your money, not mine. So you do that. My final thoughts though is I liked it. The storyline was nice. I liked the first story. I liked the second story. I like how there's a little bit of like, yeah, it's not all happy and fairy tales everywhere. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, oh my god, we need some like spells to like sell. No, okay, people are actually going through some stuff, and you're seeing the story, and that's why it's kind of said it gave me like a little bit of Nier vibes. Obviously, the first story is about a father, and the second story you see is about orphans. Like, I feel like it has some hidden messages in there, and obviously if you don't understand what's going on, you don't. There's nothing wrong with that, you know? But I do feel like if you're someone that like is like, oh, like these stories have to have a meaning, there is a meaning behind them, and there is kind of like, oh, I could see why we're doing this, like we're helping. Obviously your character doesn't really have a story, but it's the people around you that you're helping that has a story. If we do have a story, I haven't got that far, okay? And don't spoil it for me, or do, I don't know, you know. Go ahead and tell me all the tea, I guess. But in my eyes, we are an adventurers guild, okay? I know when you hear adventurers guild, you're like, Genshin, but you're actually in the adventurers guild when you start, okay? There's no like you need to fight your way to be in, or you're looking for your lost sibling, you know, nothing like that. Okay, nothing that you accidentally in there. No, you chose that job, so you're doing the missions out of that. So yeah, I liked it. I low-key rate this game probably a 7.5. I think we hit one bug in the game, and that was during combat, and I think it's because I accidentally pushed him into a corner, and obviously you're not supposed to do that, and there was like a little bug, and other than that it was fine. My character took damage, and it wasn't like a life death situation. You have potions to heal, you have everything there in it. Obviously the only thing I don't like about the game is that I can see other players. That's just my brain, like, it's just like, oh my god, there's so much going on, there's so many people I'm seeing, there's like so much going on, but you do not see them in combat. You see them in like, think of Monster Hunter, when you're in the like the little campsites, you see them there, you know. But when you're going into a mission, or when you leave and you're doing the main quest, they're not there, okay? They're not in your little peripheral vision. That was just something I didn't like. Other than that, I like it. Another thing that I'm probably like is, it's a small game. Obviously there's no voice acting. There's voice acting, but there's not like Genshin voice acting in every single dialogue, okay? Don't go in there and be like, oh my god, I don't have to read everything. You're gonna be reading some things. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm actually excited and hope that in the future this game gets kind of big enough where it can actually get more voice actors. I feel like this is a new like step for people who want to do that. Maybe, I don't know if they're planning on doing that. That'd be pretty cool. Obviously you gotta pay them, so if they don't have the players, they're not gonna do that. But if this game ever did become big, that is something I would want, because I feel like I can see it being more like, the storylines would be like more like, oh, those are good storylines, you know what I mean? But yeah, other than that, I liked it. If you guys want to watch more gameplays, or if you guys have other games you guys want to request, please request other gameplays, because I love Genshin, but like, to me, Genshin is not my game anymore. It became, in my mind, more complicated, so I just don't really, you know, I missed one update and went through another update, and everything was a lot bigger, and it just overwhelmed me a little bit, so I laid off Genshin. So if you guys have any new games to try that's not gonna overwhelm someone, please request them. I would love to play them. And yeah, go follow the Twitch if you guys want to see more, and obviously leave a like and a sub if you guys like this game, and I'll try to do more game reviews. Obviously I'm not the greatest at them, but I will try, and I will never lie to you guys about what I thought. This game did give me Genshin and Nier had a baby. Genshin, Infinity Nikki, throw some Nier in there, smoosh it up, bam. you have Crystal of Atlan. And I only say near because not of the art style, not of what's going on, but the story. Okay, the story just gave me like a little like, you know, like a little, If you guys notice it, great. Someone in my chat also noticed it and told me about it. And I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're actually eating something right now. Like, but yeah. Remember to leave a like and a sub, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!